6 most tragic stories of 1970s child stars that shocked the world. The 1970s was a golden era for child stars, with young actors captivating audiences on TV and in theaters. But behind the fame was a darker reality: crushing pressure, grueling schedules, and the loss of a normal childhood. While some thrived, others faced devastating struggles that left their lives marked by tragedy. In this video, we reveal the 6 most heartbreaking stories of 1970s child stars, showing the highs, lows, and lasting impact of stardom. David Cassidy. The 1970s television show that The Partridge Family achieved widespread popularity, but musical talent wasn't a requirement for most of the cast. Only David Cassidy and Shirley Jones possessed significant musical abilities. David Cassidy grew up in a family with an acting background. His actor parents traveled extensively, leaving him primarily raised by his grandparents. He was so detached from his parents' lives that he discovered their divorce 2 years after it happened, through a neighbor. His father subsequently married actress Shirley Jones, creating a prominent acting couple. This union added 3 half-brothers to David's life: Sean, Patrick, and Ryan. David's music career began when his father secured him management and a part in the short-lived Broadway musical The Fig Leaves Are Falling, which had only 4 performances. A casting director recognized his potential, leading to guest roles on television programs like Marcus Welby, MD, Bonanza, and Adam 12. He also found musical success with hit songs like Cherish. Despite the show's profitability, the cast, particularly David, was poorly compensated, especially considering the substantial merchandising revenue. Danny Bonaduce earned a mere $400 per episode, sometimes resorting to living in his car. As the highest-paid cast member at $600 per episode, even David Cassidy received a paltry sum. He also received no compensation from the official David Cassidy fan club, leading to resentment towards the network. In response, David stole $25,000 worth of guitars and equipment from the set, but his financial difficulties persisted. Although his contract stipulated 15% of merchandising profits, he only received $5,000. In 2011, he publicly challenged the network. "You owe me a fortune. You want to go to trial? Big Bad Sony against David Cassidy? Go ahead." Initially reported as $150,000, his net worth was later revealed to be $1.68 million. However, his lost earnings and struggles with addiction resulted in periods of financial instability. David and Sean Cassidy were paternal half-brothers. Sean, also an actor and singer, fondly remembered their shared Broadway experience in Blood Brothers. "Very cathartic because we both felt connected to our dad." He described David as someone he loved and adored, and as funny a guy as you'll ever meet. Despite their bond, Sean witnessed David's challenging relationship with fame and addiction, calling it so painful and nobody really has the right rulebook on how to manage it. The Partridge Family that catapulted David Cassidy to international stardom, resulting in overwhelming fame. He was perpetually surrounded by fans, even encountering naked women in his house and car. His fame led to a short-lived romance with Susan Dey, but ultimately fueled a desire to shed his clean-cut image. In a revealing 1972 Rolling Stone interview, Cassidy openly discussed drugs and sex, even posing nude for the magazine cover. This initiated a decline. To cover up the sadness and the emptiness, "I never sought the fame, and I was always trying to hide from it," Cassidy explained regarding his alcoholism. His demanding 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 years work schedule left no time for a personal life. His drinking resulted in legal issues, including a DUI and subsequent rehab. Despite claiming sobriety, he later admitted, "The fact is that I lied about my drinking. It never stopped." He characterized his addiction as a slippery slope he couldn't overcome. David Cassidy's will excluded his daughter, Katie, from inheritance. Any references to child or children are only to Bo and not to Katie. It is my specific intent not to provide any benefits hereunder to Catherine. He clarified their strained relationship. "I wasn't her father. "I was her biological father, but I didn't raise her." Katie was raised by her mother and stepfather. Although they reconciled before his passing, the will remained unaltered. If you like this video, please leave a number 9 in the comments below. Erin Moran. Born into a family of 6 with no show business connections, Tony and Erin Moran both discovered a passion for acting. Erin's mother, supportive of her daughter's aspirations, enrolled her with a talent agency, launching the Moran family's foray into the entertainment world. Erin's brothers, John and Tony, followed her path into acting. John appeared on Happy Days at 4 years old, while Tony had guest appearances on The Waltons and Chips, notably playing the unmasked Michael Myers in the 1978 film Halloween. Anson Williams, Erin's friend since she was 12, spoke about the enduring effects of her difficult childhood in a broken home, quoting, "No child should have the family she had. She didn't get the upbringing a child should have, which really makes life hard. She had a lot of problems for a lot of years. These early struggles would shape the course of Erin's life." While best known for playing Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, Erin Moran was also a talented singer. Her musical abilities were showcased in a 1975 episode of The Waltons titled The Song, where she played Sally Ann Harper, a love interest for both Ben and Jason. She also lent her beautiful voice to Happy Days, particularly in the duet Once Again with Scott Baio, Chachi, demonstrating her impressive vocal range. Even sharing the stage with a future recording artist, Erin's singing talent shone brightly. Erin Moran, famous for her iconic role as Joni Cunningham, experienced both the joys and sorrows of romantic relationships. Following her early television success, she married Rocky Ferguson in 1987. However, the marriage dissolved in 1993. That same year, she found lasting love with Stephen Fleischman, and they exchanged vows. The couple moved to California and later to Indiana to care for Stephen's ailing mother. While fulfilling their caregiving duties, they also enjoyed a vibrant social life, even reportedly being asked to leave a trailer park due to their boisterous activities. The immense success of Happy Days didn't automatically translate into financial security for all its stars. Erin Moran, along with Anson Williams, Marion Ross, and Don Most, filed a lawsuit against CBS to recover unpaid merchandising royalties. Their contracts guaranteed them 5% of revenue for solo image use and 2.5% for group appearances. The dispute arose from CBS offering $8,500 to $9,000, considerably less than the millions the cast believed they were owed. Henry Winkler and Ron Howard, who had separate merchandising deals, were not parties to the suit. While a judge initially rejected their claims, a settlement was reached in 2012, with Anson Williams expressing satisfaction with the undisclosed amount. Despite the show's enormous popularity and merchandising empire, Moran struggled to achieve lasting fame beyond her beloved character. After Happy Days concluded, Erin Moran's acting career struggled to find its footing. Despite the initial promise of Joni Loves Chachi, the show's cancellation marked a downturn in her career trajectory. As the entertainment industry gravitated towards more risque content, Moran found herself relegated to smaller parts, which eventually diminished in the 1990s. Financial struggles followed, ultimately resulting in the loss of her California home to foreclosure. She and her husband faced considerable economic hardship, with Erin at times residing in a Holiday Inn Express. Regular visits to a local Indiana bar became a coping mechanism, where she reportedly voiced feelings of isolation and disillusionment, claiming that no one cared about her but her husband. While seeking refuge in alcohol, her behavior sometimes led to her being ejected from the establishment. In 2017, Erin Moran's life took a tragic turn with the diagnosis of throat cancer. The disease progressed rapidly, leaving her unable to eat, drink, or speak. Despite these immense challenges, she found solace in her friendship with Happy Days co-star Anson Williams, communicating with him regularly via text message due to her inability to speak. Sadly, her condition worsened, and she experienced difficulty breathing. In April 2017, her husband Stephen found her deceased in their bed, holding his hand. Anson Williams, who had remained hopeful for her recovery, was deeply saddened by the news, a sentiment shared by many who remembered her as television's beloved all-American girl, Joni Cunningham. Eve Plum. Born into a family steeped in entertainment, Eve Plum's destiny seemed intertwined with the spotlight. Her father, a recording company executive, and her mother, a dancer, made Hollywood their natural habitat. Growing up in Burbank with 3 siblings presented a unique challenge: establishing her own identity. A twist of fate arrived when a talent agent specializing in child actors moved in next door. This serendipitous encounter led to her first audition, which she aced, effectively launching her career. Starting with commercials, she quickly transitioned to roles in shows like Lassie, The Big Valley, Family Affair, and even Gunsmoke, notably wearing a dress once worn by Shirley Temple. Though acting wasn't a predetermined path, Eve's family rallied behind her passion once it became clear. Unlike some child stars who faced domineering parents, Eve's parents provided a supportive and protective environment. Her father wisely managed her finances, while her mother offered a comforting presence on set, prioritizing her well-being rather than exerting control. As the saying goes, life imitates art, and the Brady Bunch serves as a prime example. Eve Plum's casting as Jan Brady wasn't solely based on her resemblance to the original Mrs. Brady, Joyce Bulifant. The producers recognized her inherent talent and a distinct quality she possessed. Unlike her co-stars, who brought prior acting experience to the table, Eve often felt a sense of isolation, a characteristic the producers incorporated into John's character. This resonated with viewers, making the middle child's struggles both relatable and enduring. Behind the scenes, the cast, particularly Maureen McCormick, longed for more mature storylines for their characters. In a quiet act of rebellion, Eve and Maureen even filmed scenes without bras. Their off-screen bond extended beyond the set, including a cruise where they freely indulged in alcohol, leading McCormick to playfully label them the Boozy Bunch. While Eve managed to avoid serious addiction issues, both McCormick and Robert Reed, their on-screen father, later faced struggles with substance abuse. The lives of child stars often fuel romantic fantasies. While the Brady Bunch cast weren't related, romantic interests did develop. Christopher Knight, for instance, held crushes on both Susan Olsen and Eve Plum. One evening, Chris orchestrated a romantic outing for Eve in his pickup truck, complete with candles, drinks, and blankets, only to be interrupted by the police. Eve's relationship with Knight even sparked a scheme by Barry Williams to be alone with Maureen McCormick. He arranged for Eve to visit Knight's room during a London cruise, providing him the opportunity to be with Maureen. Eve's own love story unfolded outside her acting career. She became the first Brady sibling to marry in 1979, though the marriage lasted only 2 years. In 1995, she married a tech consultant, and they remain together today. Eve chose not to have children, opting for a life that felt authentic to her, rather than conforming to societal pressures. While inextricably linked to Jan Brady, Eve Plum's career extended beyond the Brady Bunch. While she remained a key figure in all Brady-related projects, her other roles consisted primarily of single appearances. She acknowledged the ebb and flow of the industry, stating, "Things go in cycles. You have downtime, up times, busy times, not so busy times." A pivotal moment came with her portrayal of a teen prostitute in the 1976 TV movie Dawn: Portrait of a Teenage Runaway. Eve embraced the change, finding the experience enjoyable, even admitting, "I think playing a hooker was fun, but it did get awkward when she went costume shopping with her mom." Despite her proven talent, Eve felt typecast as Jan Brady. She expressed frustration at the lack of recognition for her other roles, saying, "Don't forget, I've been acting since I was 6 years old, and I've lived in Hollywood most of my life." Returning to the role proved challenging, as Christopher Knight observed, making her the one who had the hardest time readjusting. Eve's absence from the Brady Bunch Variety Hour was due to a required 5-year contract. She reflected on the complexities of fame, noting, "We all grow up, but not everyone wants us after we do." While accepting her enduring association with John, she affirmed, "I'll always be Jan Brady to so many people. I can't escape it, but I can do other things." Her return to the Brady family felt like a necessary sacrifice. Despite her commitment, she confessed, sometimes I wish it would go away. Yes, sometimes I wish people would just see me as I am and, forget about that. Like Jan, Eve sought to define herself beyond a single role. As an adult, she found her unique voice through art. Her paintings, often still lifes, are displayed in prestigious studios, and her artistic eye extends to interior design and decor, making her a natural choice for the very Brady renovation. Returning to the Brady house brought a sense of closure and healing. She recreated artwork from the show, adding a personal touch to the renovated space. While she sells some paintings and handmade mugs, she retains her extensive collection of Brady Bunch memorabilia, a tangible link to a complicated but cherished past. Little House on the Prairie explored real-life issues such as addiction, poverty, and prejudice, drawing inspiration from Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House books. Though based on the books, the show wasn't a literal adaptation. Michael Landon, the creator, likened the novels to cookbooks, highlighting the need for added dramatic elements. The character of Nellie Oleson, while appearing in Wilder's books, was actually a composite of 3 real individuals: Nellie Owens, Estella Gilbert, and Genevieve Masters. Wilder's reluctance to use Owens's name in her book suggests a lasting negative impact from that person on her childhood. Love this video? Show some love with a like and a subscribe. Hate it? A like would still be awesome, and your feedback in the comments will help me improve. Jack Wild. Emerging from a modest background, Jack Wild's life mirrored the unexpected rise of his famous Oliver character. He initially envisioned a future in athletics or medicine, once stating, "I never wanted to be an actor. I saw myself as either a footballer or a doctor." A chance encounter with a theatrical agent, coincidentally Phil Collins' mother while playing football with his brother, altered his path. After enrolling in drama school, he secured a part in the 1964 West End Oliver production as Charlie. 4 years later, at 16, he charmed global viewers as the artful Dodger in the film version, his singing leaving an enduring mark. His innate talent, especially his musical aptitude, significantly contributed to the 1968 Oliver film's success, which garnered Oscars for Best Score and Best Sound. He performed all his vocals and had a curious link to the Dodger role. The initial West End Dodger, David Jones, later found fame with the Monkees. Jack's musical gifts extended beyond film. In 1970, he released the Jack Wild album, featuring covers of popular British tunes. Everybody Is Coming Up Roses followed in 1971, including original compositions. His last major album, 1972's A Beautiful World, featured the hit Some Beautiful, charting in both the US and UK. Though sometimes overshadowed by his acting career, his musical contributions were undoubtedly significant. The friendship between Oliver Twist and the Artful Dodger was central to the film's appeal. While Mark Lester portrayed Oliver, Jack Wild's Dodger often captured the audience's attention. Unlike some actors who might resent shared screen time, Jack and Mark developed a genuine friendship, echoing their characters' bond. They even collaborated again in the 1971 film Melody. Their connection remained strong, with Mark later reminiscing, "Jack was like a brother to me during the making of the film and was always very protective." He also noted, "The chemistry between us was just something very, very special and lasted throughout our lives." During Oliver filming, the young cast was intimidated by Oliver Reed, who played the menacing Bill Sykes. Jack remembered, "As kids, we were all terrified of him because he was this giant of a man, and the only time we ever saw him was when he was in costume and made up for the part." Reed, committed to his role, purposefully distanced himself from the children to maintain a threatening air. Reed's imposing look stemmed from a violent bar fight years earlier. Attacked after a disagreement, he required 36 stitches from broken bottles, leaving scars that worried him about his future acting prospects. Despite not initially seeking acting, Jack's career included notable events, such as meeting Welsh actress Gaynor Jones on the Doctor Who set at 12. They reconnected in 1970, marrying 6 years later, but divorced in 1985 due to Jack's addiction issues. He later found love with Claire Hardin, met while working on Jack and the Beanstalk, marrying in 2005. Sadly, their happiness was later touched by tragedy. After Oliver launched his stardom, Jack solidified his fame as Jimmy in the beloved children's show H.R. Pufnstuf, reprising the role in the 1970 film. He became a teen idol featured in magazines like Tiger Beat, alongside stars like Barry Williams and David Cassidy. Former Tiger Beat editor Ann Moses remembered Jack as one of their earliest stars. But even at 17, she saw him as a child, still accompanied by his older brother. She compared his fame to a shooting star, bright but brief, leaving a memorable impact but ending too quickly. Jack expressed frustration with being typecast as a teenager, even into his 20s. He admitted, "When I first entered the show business, of course, I didn't mind playing younger roles. However, it did bug me when I would be 21, being offered the role of a 13-year-old. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy playing these roles. I had barrels of fun. I just wanted more serious and dramatic roles. It's that simple." A planned role opposite Suzi Quatro in a British Bonnie and Clyde that fell through must have been especially disheartening. After focusing on music, Jack returned to acting, but found himself in primarily smaller parts. In his early 20s, he developed a severe alcohol problem. His drinking led to financial hardship, the end of his first marriage, and multiple hospitalizations from 3 cardiac arrests. By the mid-1980s, his addiction had worsened to 3 or 4 bottles of vodka and 2 bottles of wine daily. Though briefly sober through a clinic run by musician Pete Townshend, a celebratory drink led to relapse. He ultimately achieved lasting sobriety in 1989 through Alcoholics Anonymous. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment "OK" if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Jack and his second wife Claire worked on his autobiography, intending to share his full life story. Sadly, his past addiction had severely impacted his health, and he was diagnosed with oral cancer in 2000. He linked the cancer to his drinking, but didn't solely blame his child star past. "I believed I'd have been a heavy drinker in any case," he said, a belief supported by his brother's similar struggles. Jack and Claire relocated to a quiet British village for his cancer treatments, including chemotherapy and radiation. While initially successful, the cancer aggressively returned. To try and save him, surgeons removed his voice box and tongue, leaving him unable to speak, eat, or drink, relying on a feeding tube. Jack died on March 1, 2006, at 53. A grieving but resolute Claire finished his autobiography, It's a Dodger's Life, published in 2016, a testament to his strength and a lasting tribute to his extraordinary life. Alison Arngrim. Alison Arngrim, forever tied to the notorious Nellie Oleson, faced distinct challenges portraying the unpopular character, particularly with the constricting wardrobe. The wigs, she noted, were never comfortable. There was no point at which it felt comfortable. Yet she embraced the role and its enduring effect on viewers. Arngrim immediately grasped Nellie's intricate nature. "This is not a normal part. This girl is, well, she's the B word," she revealed to her father during the audition process. Securing the role proved her acting prowess, and her performance validated her initial perception. Like having PMS for 7 years. Embodying the villain brought audience backlash, culminating in a Hollywood Christmas parade incident where a disgruntled viewer threw orange soda at her. Playing Nellie at times felt like a thankless task. Interestingly, Arngrim and Melissa Gilbert, Laura Ingalls, formed a close friendship despite their characters' animosity. Initially, they were set up as rivals, as Arngrim had auditioned for Laura, but Michael Landon envisioned her as the antagonist. A genuine bond emerged, with Arngrim playfully tormenting Gilbert by deliberately making romantic scenes with Gilbert's on-screen sweetheart, Steve Tracy, unbearable due to Gilbert's discomfort with public affection. It's funny, I think if you play enemies on set, you end up becoming friends. We hit it off right away. We had slumber parties, visited each other's houses on weekends. People couldn't believe it. Their enduring friendship, reaffirmed by Gilbert in 2021 as one of my very dearest friends and very favorite on-screen partners, demonstrates a connection exceeding the television world. In contrast to her friendship with Gilbert, Arngrim's relationship with Michael Landon, the show's creator and lead, was complicated. She described him as a bundle of contradictions, displaying kindness and explosive behavior. Landon's on-set drinking was commonplace. Arngrim observed him drinking in a prop truck and saw a staff member adding bourbon to his coffee. She later understood he could consume 2 cases of beer daily. His heavy drinking combined with his volatile temperament made him challenging. After Arngrim broke her arm skateboarding, Landon prohibited her from the activity, marking her cast as a reminder. This solidified a negative impression, and Arngrim later corroborated Karen Grassel's memoir detailing Landon's problematic conduct, labeling him more mad, bad, and dangerous to know. Despite the difficulties, portraying Nellie had positive aspects. Beyond her friendship with Gilbert, Nellie's anger provided an outlet for Arngrim's past trauma. "Yep, I was very relaxed after that day," she remarked after a particularly emotional scene. If you like this video, please leave a number 9 in the comments below. Eventually, Nellie's character arc plateaued, leaving Arngrim dissatisfied and contributing to her decision to leave. Despite her loyalty, NBC refused to negotiate her contract, offering her the same terms for 4 more years. Following her departure, Gilbert gave Arngrim a unique gift: a crying baby charm necklace wrapped in a job listing. A gesture of support, it symbolized new possibilities. Though synonymous with Nellie Oleson, Arngrim continued acting, appearing in Life Interrupted with Darren Murphy. Her most meaningful work, however, became advocacy. Overcoming depression related to her abuse, she dedicated herself to helping others, leading the National Association to Protect Children and raising HIV/AIDS awareness. Reflecting on her career, Arngrim embraces her Nellie legacy. "I get recognized more now than I did when the show was running. There was a time in my 20s when I would say I didn't want to be recognized as Nellie forever, but Nellie was a lot of fun to play. Indeed, I thought I'd be sick of it, but now it just makes me smile," she says. David Harper. Born in Abilene, Texas on October 4, 1961, David Harper inherited his love of acting from his father, Paul Harper. Originally from Tennessee, Paul Harper acted in movies like Knight Rider and Run, Angel Run, but his most recognizable role was likely Ross in the classic Western, The Wild Bunch. A frequent presence in Westerns, including shows like Bonanza and The Waltons, Paul passed away some years ago, with David caring for him in his later life. Unlike many actors who struggle initially, David Harper started his career young. He debuted as Jim Bob in The Homecoming: A Christmas Story, the pilot for the enduring series The Waltons. Airing on December 19, 1971, the pilot exceeded expectations, leading to a full series order. David, along with the other child actors and Ellen Corby, Grandma, was asked to continue his role, although the actors playing Olivia and Zeb Walton were recast. Primarily known for his portrayal of Jim Bob Walton, David Harper began his acting journey in 1971 with The Homecoming pilot and the subsequent series. Although the show concluded in 1981, Harper continued playing Jim Bob in various reunion specials and spin-offs, including A Wedding on Walton's Mountain, A Day for Thanks on Walton's Mountain, and several reunions during the mid-1990s. 8 of his 12 acting credits are, in fact, connected to The Waltons. Harper fondly remembered his time on the series, saying, "Having a movie studio as a playground is like the ultimate fantasy." Though fictionalized, The Waltons drew inspiration from real-life events. The show stemmed from Earl Hamner Jr.'s 1961 novel, Spencer's Mountain, a story about a large family. James Hamner, one of Earl's siblings, was the inspiration for Jim Bob. The youngest of 8, James resided in his childhood home for much of his life, achieving local fame because of Harper's portrayal. Following a career in the military, banking, and systems analysis, he retired in 2000, sadly passing away in 2004 after just 4 years of retirement. Rest in peace, original Jim Bob. Much like his on-screen counterpart, David Harper, the actor behind Jim Bob Walton, possessed a similar energetic spirit. Both were known for their enthusiasm, although Jim Bob often had difficulty focusing. Harper described his portrayal of Jim Bob as essentially playing himself, sharing a love for music with the character. While their specific hobbies differed, both were hands-on individuals. Harper's enjoyment of jigsaw puzzles mirrored Jim Bob's passion for restoring cars. Both were also prone to daydreaming, though Jim Bob dreamt of the future, while Harper often reflected on the past, eventually becoming a certified American Civil War history buff. They also shared a spiritual inclination. After a near-death experience, Jim Bob considered the ministry, and Harper has said, "My passion is my relationship with my Heavenly Father." Although largely defined by the Waltons, Harper's career encompassed other roles in projects like The Blue and the Gray, 315, and Fletch. He retired from acting in 2011, concluding a 40-year career. He later pursued a business degree and found work with a California parcel delivery company, a position secured with help from his Walton brother, Eric Scott, demonstrating the lasting connections made on set. David Harper values his privacy but appreciates fan interactions. Currently working on a book which he hopes to complete in the coming years, acting isn't a primary focus for him. He's currently more interested in learning German and visiting Germany. Despite his preference for privacy, he stays connected with his Walton family. "Looking back, I realize we grew up surrounded by adults, but I'm pleased to have been on the show," he says. The tragic tales of these 1970s child stars highlight the harsh realities of fame. While they brought joy to millions, their lives were often filled with pain and struggle. Their stories serve as a reminder that behind the spotlight, there are real people facing battles that go unseen. Engage with us by commenting below. Comment 9 if this story has resonated with you, or 0 if it hasn't met your expectations. Remember, your insights and feedback are invaluable as we continue to explore and share more stories that delve into the essence of humanity. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.